Hey everyone, how you doing today? Thought I'd show you what I've been working on the last couple days, and that is this Imperial ship. I got some more work done to it, but it's got a long ways to go yet before it's done. So I did get a base coat of textures on there, which took a while, and I did a lot of body work to it as well. It got a little bit bigger yet. It's not big, but if you look at the base model ship that it started from, it's quite a bit larger actually now than that is. It's a little wider for the most part, and it's definitely longer, and it does have more interior space in it. So I'm kind of happy about that. And the reason why I wanted this one a little bit bigger is lessons learned from this guy over here. And basically, obviously, this ship started out with the same general design over here, and sort of adding the wings and stuff to it, it's pretty much the same size as this one, and I totally ran out of room. Well, I wouldn't say I ran out of room. It does what it needs to do, but you know the idea of throwing in farms or anything else in here was just not going to happen. I couldn't even find additional room to put more locations for quantum and auxiliary single block items in it. It was that tight. So I wanted a little more space on the newer ship, and I think I got it now. It's a little wider. It's going to have more interior space. It's definitely longer as well. So I think that'll work out pretty good. Now, when I did a lot of copying and pasting, and moving things around and rebuilding areas on it. I got some more turrets on here. Probably I'll add a couple more, I think, before it's done as well. And it also has more thrusters. Now, to keep the CPU in check, my idea right now is to have some of these thrusters kind of as placeholders, so you'd be able to pop them in after the fact. So you'd have some thrusters that you could add into the ship for upgrades as well. As you can see, it's got three of these large strafing thrusters per side versus two, which the original design had. And the same thing goes for the lift thrust back here. It's got three of them instead of, I guess that just had one, didn't it? Wow. Um, and yeah, it's got more down thrust capabilities. So it's got four down thrusts, and then it's got six forward thrust uh, locations. But the way it's set up is I can remove some from all of these directions and keep them as placeholders, so to keep the CPU in check. It's a little bit bigger. It's going to weigh a little bit more. I felt it's going to probably need a little bit more thrust power in the process. So it'll have the option to do that, and that's something I wanted to kind of get through. As an interior space, yeah, it's a whole lot bigger actually than what the Athon is. Uh, and I'll have a lot more room for parts, and I did want to get some farms in here as well. So the increased space, I think, is definitely going to be welcome on this ship. It's I wanted it to be very different than the other ship over here. So this ship is its own thing. This is going to be its own thing, and hopefully, I don't think there's anything the same on these two ships anymore. They are completely unique. The third version, which I forgot to spawn the Scar one that I started, will be the Scar one. It'll look a little bit different than what this does as well. But it'll be smaller though, so it'll be around the same size as the original ship here, and this is going to be the biggest one of the three that kind of spawned or started from the same build, believe it or not. Not sure why I did that. I just started messing with the bodywork so much that I ended up with all these different versions of the ship, and then I felt like I should continue with them. So on this one here, I do got to do some more body work though. This has got more thrusters on it, and I got to kind of redo this whole section back here because I sort of willy-nilly just threw in a third thruster in between the other two, and it doesn't fit very well right now, and I got to make the blocks work better around that. But other than that, I'm pretty happy with it. And this one's also going to have the big top mount like HV landing pad on the bottom of it too, which I think will be kind of cool. That was tested previously, and it did work out pretty good for that. As long as you set up a sensor correctly for the hangar door. Um, and then yeah, it needs a whole lot more detailing textures, and yeah, a lot more tweaking yet on the body to go. But you know, it's at this stage I'm getting happier and happier with it, and I got to get going on that interior once I get the rest of these this block stuff figured out. So on a side note here too, I messed around with something real briefly here as a idea, concept of an Imperial base that would be larger, kind of a production slash farming hub slash hangar slash does it all kind of base. It'd be a little bit more expensive, but it is being built out of concrete for its base material. Um, this is where I'm at so far with it. I don't know if I'm going to continue with the project. I needed to widen it up so I could fit a third one of these doors here. And this won't be like your main hangar entrance. This is just kind of like a alternative entrance to the base. The main hangar entrance actually would be on the back side. Probably use probably one of the largest hangar doors that are in the game for that. And then it would have like 3 decks of farming above the hangar. And the hangar would be pretty fairly spacious. And of course, have all the production down there as well. And places to park things, and also probably about 8 to 12 turrets on here just for shooting down drones and defensive capabilities. So it'd be a little bit more of an expensive base. I realized, you know, it's been a very long time since I built anything but a starter base. I built quite a few starter bases, but yeah, I haven't really built a larger base in a very, very long time, and that's kind of what prompted me to start this. And then I kind of wanted it to look similar to the like this styling and stuff like that, and would fit in like a Star Wars kind of movie or something like that. So that's kind of why I went with this funky shape and design like that, just to have it unique, look way different than normal. And yeah, got some little lighty things down there too. But yeah, it would need a lot more work. Anyway, I just thought I'd show you that too. That was the other side thing I was working on. One last thing too, and this has to do with Reforged Eden. So right now I'm just in my old creative mode because the lighting right now is really good for the video. But I actually been building this. I started a new game in Reforged Eden, went to creative mode, been touring some different planets, been trying to find like different environments, and then I've been saving those. So in future videos and screenshots, I can take advantage of all these really cool looking planets and stuff like that. It's just unfortunately with my limited knowledge of the area, I haven't found one with very good lighting yet. So that's why I spawned these ships in my older save, so I could get the brighter light so you could see things a little bit better on what's going on here right now. But I was looking at a lot of it had to do with R&D, because I was looking at a lot of the Reforged Eden parts, and one of the ones that I have used in the past but didn't realize there was all these alternative shapes to are these structural ramps. In fact, well, there's 3 different kinds of structural ramps. There's steel ones, hardened steel ones, and combat steel ones. Just to show you, well, you guys probably already know this, but it's pretty cool because you can do kind of a lot of things at a 3-to-1 angle now, because there's blocks to support other blocks. Like if you see what I got going on here already, that's a 3-1 angle. I would love to use that shape on a hull of a ship for sure, and you can keep on backing that up with the other blocks that fit in there. Now, there is a couple side effects to this though, and one of them is you can't texture these, unfortunately, but you can color them. There's a little bit of a problem with the coloring as well that I noticed. So if I just wanted to texture it with something, obviously you can't texture any of these. So they're pretty much just going to be your smooth metal base texture, which for the most part could work. The only other side effect that I'm seeing too is it disregards whatever custom color palette you have and defaults to the original vanilla palette. So for instance, like this is a custom color I've got here for Imperial. If I spray that, it ends up being super bright red, which is obviously not this texture or this color. All these custom ones, like this darker tone here, would come out in whatever color was there in the default color palette. So essentially you can't texture them, and you can only use colors from a default color palette on those structural blocks, at least at the time. But I think it's a really great idea that what's going on here, because you can do a lot with these, and in a lot of cases too, you can kind of incorporate these in with traditional blocks as well. So this is just kind of one of those R&D things I was doing, trying to figure out what you can do now, and you can actually come up with a pretty cool range of doing all this kind of neat stuff here. And there's just some like different ratios, different blocks in here. I don't think it has every part necessary for everything, but it's got enough there where you could do some pretty cool stuff with it. Now, if you could texture these, and I could use the custom color palette, and of course they were a part of vanilla, that would be a wonderful thing. That would just add a lot more stuff that you could be able to do in the game, and I certainly welcome that. You can see all your different options here on angles and stuff like that. In fact, this one should be that piece there. Look at that nice smooth shaping going on there. I definitely like that, and I would certainly want to use these on a hull of a ship someday. So I'll have to wait for future iterations of these to see if more work's done on them. Because that would be wonderful. That would really open up the floodgates to do a lot more interesting shapes on ships. Get kind of bored of that 22.5 degree angle as your maximum angle only. And this would add in a whole like 3-to-1 aspect rate or a 3-to-1 angle ratio set of blocks, which is really cool. And they work, and they're working great. Just if you could again color them properly and texture them properly, I think that would be great. I just wanted to show that. I'm sure you guys probably already ran into this, but if you haven't, this is kind of a newer discovery for me. And I thought that was pretty cool. Other than that, I've been doing a lot of R&D in the Reforged Eden, taking a look at a lot of the different parts and turrets and launchers and weapons and all kinds of stuff I didn't realize was even there, which is kind of it's good to know all that stuff. The more stuff you know you can do, the more kind of designing you can do too, because you could take advantage and use a lot of those parts. So I just wanted to show you that part. And that's all I've got for today, actually. I just wanted to show you the update on this Imperial ship and talk about a couple of those other things there. So other than that, you all have yourself a great day, and I'll talk to you later.